Welcome back to Startup or Shut Up, the podcast where we dive into the real stories of founders who bet on themselves and built something bold. Today's guest is someone I go way back with. When I first moved to Chicago, I joined a volleyball team and met today's guest, Ken Barton. Since then, he's gone from being a Chicago volleyball buddy to buying his first investment property in Orlando, scaling his real estate portfolio, spotting pain points in the industry, and then building a tech company called Offa, a platform that helps investors connect with each other to find off-market properties faster. Think Tinder, but for real estate deals. Ken didn't just build it. Offa is officially live in the app stores at seed stage and gearing up for its first round of venture capital. We've got a lot to cover, and Ken talks fast, so buckle up. This episode is sponsored by PeerFounder, the free market repayment crowdfunding platform. Founders fund your next idea. Funders support and earn optional cash returns. Check us out at peerfounder.com.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, Ken. Very, very exciting to have you on. You have some really exciting things going on in your life with real estate and then also launching your own tech company.
Yes, sir. Great to be here. Thank you very much for the welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. We first met in Chicago, like when I first moved in 2016, and we just so happened to be on a volleyball team and reconnected a few years ago as well. And then your life journey is pretty awesome.
Thank you, Colin. I mean, it's been it's interesting. Actually, whenever you met me in Chicago, I was never investing in real estate. Pandemic, like 2020, really started my entire journey in this. I had never had the money before. Like obviously, real estate's like any other game. You can't really invest without cash first. Yeah, it's been quite a ride. It's like, 5 years ago? Like 5 years I've been in this game, and total investing time is 7 years.
Yeah, totally. And then one video you just shared even earlier today was purchasing your first real estate back in Orlando. Can you tell the viewers about that first time buying experience and what attracted you and that whole entire story with that very first property?
There's so many layers, Colin. So stop me or raise a hand if I'm being too much, but let me give you the whole impetus of the situation. So when you met me in Chicago, what was this, 20? I don't remember, a little while
Yes,
ago.
2016.
So yeah, a decade ago, right? At that time, I got my Series 7 at Merrill Lynch, meaning I am legally allowed to sell you securities, and if you want to buy stocks and bonds, I did that. That was really informative. I come from I'm first generation college, went to college, I think you might remember, or maybe not, but I have 2 degrees in Mandarin Chinese. So I
Yes.
speak fluent Mandarin. I'm always been very contrarian in my behavior. I do things that are not normal. I'm not on the normal path. I went to Merrill, and I promise I'm going to get to the reason why I'm going to this path. But
Totally.
I went to Merrill because I wanted to learn about how people keep getting wealthy. Honestly, I didn't have very much money. My family is fine, but no one's super wealthy, and no one can really afford vacation all the time. I'm like, okay, cool. I want that life. I like that freedom. How do I get that? So I did that. Series 7 was super informative. And then, of course, all my clients who are successful were investing in real estate. Everyone, the attorneys, the lawyers, the doctors, all of them didn't really have a lot of money. But every single time I talk to my real estate guys, they're like, oh yeah, I just made $2 million last year. And I'm kind of lazy. And I'm like, okay, these are the guys, this is the people, right? So I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense. But again, they're like, oh, Ken, tell me when you have 100K and we can talk. And I'm like, cool, never gonna happen. So me being me, I started reading. So I read a lot of books. I'm a very adamant audiobook fan, and I read probably 12 or 13 books on real estate before I got started. Every book said the same thing. You got to get started, you got to get some money together, and you have to learn about creative financing, you have to learn about off-market real estate, and just understand how to buy things that people don't have access to. I was like, sounds great, there's nowhere to find that. Fast forward to 2020, I did a private consulting contract. Colin, I'll kind of bait you along here. So I did a contract for a professional athlete due to an NDA. I cannot say who. Colin, would you like to guess how much I charge this professional athlete to give him a business plan?
Oh no,
It's not a small amount of money.
50 grand, 100 grand? More, 500?
I wish. It was $180,000. This professional athlete decided to pay me for a business plan, which of course,
Wow.
it was about solar power, and I literally farmed it out to my 2 PhD friends, paid them each $1,000, and they were thrilled. They were like, oh my God, I get money. And it was just amazing. So now I had money, right? And so, I just released a video about this, but that's how I found my very first deal in Orlando. I quite literally bought it in cash and rehabbed it in cash. Would not suggest that. Don't do that again. But I was too scared. I was so excited to have all this money. I'm like, okay, I gotta do something with it. I have to go do and get after it. And so that was the beginning of my journey. Got my Series 7, understood money, understood real estate's probably the fastest path to being wealthy. Got some cash, thank goodness, praise. And then finally I bought my first deal. And now I'm at 56 doors. So I've been doing this for, in total 7 years. quite a journey. But that brought me to here.
Awesome, awesome. And then after you bought that first property, what did you do in order to scale and turn your portfolio into what it looks like today?
Yeah, a couple things. So I use the strategy called BRRRR, which is buy, rehab, rent, refinance. Simply enough, when you buy a deal, it's usually I'm buying off-market properties, so properties that are not in good condition, right? They have problems. So like
Mhm.
I bought properties that are burned down or caved in roof or no, like the plumbing system's destroyed because a tenant decided to mix some cement in their sink and pour it down because they hate landlords. Totally possible. Yeah, Colin, like I've seen worse. I've seen literal feces like scraped on the wall and a big old FU. Hey, listen, like if that's the way you want to be, do you as a tenant. But yes, like I've bought a lot of really rough properties. So I do the buy, then I refinance them. So once I fix it, sorry, rehab first. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance. So I buy it, I rehab it, so we fix it up, make it really nice. We rent it out, so now it has income. And actually, how a bank looks at that is it's individually a business. They're quite literally
Mhm.
making you like a little business loan on a piece of real estate. Kind of nice. And so they'll allow you to pull the cash back out or refinance it. And the whole reason why I do this, Colin, is I don't want to pay taxes,
Mhm.
right? And like if you flip, when you sell a property, so you buy a property for 100K, you sell it for 250, you make 150K in the middle. That's all taxable income, and it's also short-term tax income. So short-term capital gains, and like a lot of what I do is based around my Merrill Lynch Series 7 experience of like understanding when you make money, cool, how you make money really matters. So when I do
Yes.
the BRRRR, you buy, rehab, rent, refinance, when I pull any kind of cash out from that refi, it's debt. It's not
Mhm.
income. It's
Correct.
untaxable. So I can go recycle that money over and over and over again. And after 7 years, Colin, that's what I've done. Now, the only difference is I have taken on some money from some of my friends. I've lived in California, New York City. So I'll go do a thing called a syndicate, or like we'll both invest into an LLC. And then
Mhm.
they will put in the money, I put in the energy, and then I own a percentage of the real estate asset we buy.
Got it.
But I'm just getting really complicated now. But anyway, I use my money and other people's money to buy deals.
Perfect. And when you purchase the property now, are you purchasing the property through an LLC or through your own name now?
Always, always. I would never use my own name. So, and I would never encourage anyone for an investment property. You're always buying it through an LLC. Here's why. It's a little thing called the corporate veil, quite literally like a wedding veil. Think about it. Like, you don't want someone, like, let's say something terrible happens in your house and it burns down. And let's say
Mhm.
it was because you hired a really bad electrician and they messed up the wires. And so technically it's your fault as a landlord. As long as that property is in its own little LLC, think of it like a box. No one can penetrate that. The danger is someone like me. If I owned everything in my own name and I owned all my doors in one name, if like my property burned down, that person comes after me, their lawyer says, hey, they own 56 doors. They probably have millions of dollars. Whether that's liquid or not, they're going to sue me for $5 or $10 million for damages or whatnot if someone died. So you need to make sure every property is its own LLC. And if you are sued, they can only go after that property. So the worst case, it's kind of like loss mitigation. But yeah, I would never buy outside of an LLC.
Cool, cool. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
then when you first bought that first property and then you were buying all the other properties because you're learning through this progress, when did you notice that you're like, hey, I'm actually kind of good at this?
I don't even know if I'm good at it now. I have done well. I have made a lot of money in this. Am I good at it? I don't know. Like that's subjective. What I would say is like I learned my very unfair advantage. My very unfair advantage was understanding that there is a whole underbelly to the US real estate economy.
Mhm.
I'll talk about this a lot on this call, Colin, but basically, and that's why I built Offa. That's why like I do all of these things is, Colin, I would argue like before knowing me or without knowing me, if you want to buy real estate, you're probably going to Zillow, Redfin, Compass, like one of these websites, right?
Mhm.
Colin, let me ask you a question. Have you ever known what off-market real estate was before you knew me or before you heard about Offa?
No, not at all.
Right.
That's my next question is what is off market real estate?
Yeah. So let me bring those two things together. So
Absolutely.
as I'm reading and learning, I keep hearing this phrase off-market real estate. And so I'm like Googling, this is before ChatGPT. Remember, like that world of that existence of before ChatGPT. So I'm like, I'm doing this and I'm like, where do you find these properties? Like, what are they
Mhm.
talking about? And this is like in the inception time of Facebook groups. I start finding Facebook groups and I start like chasing these people. And basically I learned that like off-market real estate's way discounted. Like I'm seeing deals come across my desk, like on my Facebook page where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like $30,000 less than something on the MLS or on Zillow.
Wow.
I'm like, that's crazy. And then I call this person. I'm like, hey, I want to buy your deal. They're like, cool. Do you have a hard money loan? I'm like, what's that? And they're like, thank you, bye. Click. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's like a whole economy. Basically, I'll explain this. The simple concept is this. Let me give you a scenario, right? Let's take Betty. So Betty is 65 years old. Betty is retired. Okay, she owns a house in Orlando, Florida. I'm from Orlando. It's easy for me to visualize. She owns a 3-bed, 2-bath house. She bought it in the 70s. It's paid off. It's in great shape. Here's the problem. Betty's husband, Thomas, died. Thomas handles all the house stuff. And by the way, they recently had a hurricane and had a tree fall through the house. And we know insurance companies don't want to pay. So they said, hey, you're not covered. And she's like, what are you talking about? Conventionally, that 3-bed, 2-bath house would be worth probably $400,000 or $500,000 today, which is crazy. I know, but like, let's just assume that's right. Let's assume it's worth $500K. Betty now has rain coming in her house. She's in a really rough situation. The house is paid off, but no realtor will talk to her because they're all like, I'm sorry, you have a tree through your house? Like, get out of my face. Like, I can't, we don't do that. And also, like, it's not appropriate because then the realtor has to like, one of the reasons why realtors don't like off-market deals or why the off-market was created is because realtors have all these regulations and specifications of what they have to disclose to someone. And if there's a tree through the house, the electrical's fucked. Like, there's so many things that are broken that they can't even like post it. So long story short,
Makes sense.
What happens? A wholesaler, this is a person where if you've been driving down the highway, you see like that thing that says, I buy your house cash, or a bandit sign on the side of the road. It's like cash for houses or cash for keys. Those are wholesalers. They want deals like Betty's. So Betty might get a call or something, whatever, like somehow she has a piece of mail, gets a call, gets an email, sees an ad, something that says, buy my house fast for cash. She talks to, let's call him Jake. And Jake says, hey, Betty, tell me your situation. Betty's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I have a tree through my house. I need help. I need to sell this thing. Like, I can't keep dealing with this. And so then Jake says, great, Betty. It's worth about $500K, but I see that like you have a tree through it. Could you accept $275K? And she's like, maybe. And he says, I will close in cash in 2 weeks. And she says, I'll take it. He says, you don't have to fix it. You don't got to paint it. You don't got to stage it. You don't got to do anything. I'll take care of everything, Betty. $275,000 in your pocket in 2 weeks. She says, that sounds amazing. I'm going to go get a condo and never do this problem again. Jake is your wholesaler, $275K. He brings that to Offa or any off-market real estate platform and posts it for $300,000. Interestingly, Colin, he's not a realtor. Realtors are being hired to sell your property for you. He is doing a thing called a double closing. He has it under contract with Betty. He has a contract to purchase, okay? He then sells Ken Barton, a real estate investor, that contract. This is contract law, not real estate law. Sounds complicated, like you wincing. Everyone's like, I don't know. Colin, would you believe 25% of American real estate right now transacts off market?
Wow.
1 in 4.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And it's even crazier is that, like, let's say you wanted to go buy an investment property and someone says, hey, here's a $500,000 house for $300K. You lose your mind. You're like, that's amazing. Yeah, you got to fix the roof and like remove a tree, but like that's not going to cost you more than $30,000 or $40,000.
Totally.
So there's still a lot of meat on the bone. So long story short, what is off-market real estate? Off-market real estate is property that is being sold by a wholesaler or being sold off-market. It's not being done through a realtor. Very likely it needs work. And most importantly, it has to close really fast. So there's a whole underbelly of private lenders or hard lenders that lend you this money at a higher interest rate, but for the intention of flipping or rehabbing really fast. Hopefully that was succinct. I know it's a lot, but that's off-market real estate.
Yeah, definitely. And then with Jake, so he has that contract with Betty in that 2 weeks. Is he trying to offload that property within that 2 weeks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's why he has to. And so Jake basically has nothing. Like if Jake, the wholesaler, right? If Jake doesn't find a buyer, he has to say, hey, Betty, I'm sorry, I can't buy it. That's how it goes. So Jake has a really, really intense need to meet buyers immediately. And needs buyers that understand buying off market. They can't use a Bank of America loan. They can't use a conventional mortgage. This is all private.
Totally. It's all cash.
Well, I mean, they use private lenders, but they say cash. But yes, that's how it works. So yeah, like Jake comes to something like Offa or an off-market distribution platform where we already have buyers who are hungry for these deals. And kind of like probably, skipping forward to one of your questions is like, where does Offa fit in and what is Offa? For buyers, Offa is a mobile app. It's literally Tinder for off-market real estate, which like, Colin, you're still in Chicago, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so you in Chicago can pull up your app. You can create a buy box on the app, and you can set it to Orlando. And then you can basically have the app tell you, hey, there's a new property posted by Jake that's $300,000, 3-bed, 2-bath, fits your buy box, your interest of what you like to buy, and then you would connect with Jake. That's the game there. For Jake, we supply the other side, which is like we help them find buyers. So we're a marketplace for buyers and sellers of off-market real estate.
Cool. And then I have a few more questions before we even get to Offa.
Sorry.
So I know that you had some pain points going through your process of buying these off market. Can you share about those
Sure.
specifically as well and those
Yeah, there's a lot of
frustrations?
pain points. So just back to real estate, right? So pain point number one is it's not easy to find these. You know,
Hmm.
number one, like it's not easy to find. Number two, when I try to tell my friends, Colin, people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I don't even like, who knows what off-market real estate is? So, like, just getting into that world, like, no one knew what this was, and no one knew where
Hmm.
it came from. And it sounds skeezy. It sounds
Hmm.
nefarious. It sounds like you're doing something illegal, even though it's not. But everyone's like, I don't know about that. Number three, finding the deals. Like literally, even today in 2025, most people are finding deals on Facebook groups or Craigslist. That's crazy. Just think
Interesting.
about it, Colin. It's kind of like Airbnb before Airbnb existed. Like,
Yes.
how would you have found a vacation rental? You
Yeah.
can't. It's not efficient. And so that's how Airbnb changed the game. It's the same situation. There was another big challenge I had, which was lending. Like,
Mm.
you were gonna buy this deal. I didn't have all the cash on hand. You have to find a lender to do this. And like, there's a lot of types of lenders and they're all over the place. So like both those were really big challenges, like trying to find off-market real estate.
Awesome. And then how did you actually come up with Offa? Because obviously you went through all these pain points. How did you have this aha moment of Offa?
My Offa aha moment. So I was head of sales for a company called Empora Title. Shout out Empora. Fantastic company out of Columbus, Ohio. My job at Empora Title, which is specifically an investor-only title company, they specialize with wholesalers and these double closings, so because it's a unique transaction. So what I did was I worked there, and I just kept hearing this over and over again. I had experienced the problem as a buyer, but I'd never been a wholesaler. I'd never been a seller. That's not really my game.
Hmm.
And here I am at this company, and every single day I'm meeting 4 or 5 wholesalers every day, and they're like, "Hey, Ken, title's not that interesting. Cool. Like those people, title just like closes the transaction. It's like the thank you buyer, thank you seller situation. That's all cool." But they were like, "I actually don't care about that." And I'm like, "Cool. What do you care about?" And they're like, "Finding buyers." I have all these deals, Ken. Like, I just need buyers. Like, I actually don't care about your business. I just need buyers for my deals. And Colin, after someone like begs you for a solution about 100 times in a month, and you're like, "Wow, we should really do this," I pitched it to Empora. I said, "Hey guys, let's solve this." You know, we were only in 7 states. There were a lot of restrictions of why a title company has like a lot of legality that they can't do it.
Hmm.
And eventually I was like, okay, I think like as you said, Colin, like that was my like shut up or startup moment where I'm like, either I can stop complaining about this and I can be like, cool, this is clearly a market, there's clearly a problem, and I can either do something about it or not. And I did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So then what did the MVP version look like and how
Yeah.
does it compare to, because you already launched in the App Store, how did that first generation look like and what was the success and failures that you went through? Just give us the overall story of that MVP.
Sure. So, minimum viable product of Offa. First things first, it was first called Off Market Buy Box. So, literally
Well,
offmarketbuybox.com. Like, if you look at it, it's like that was literally the website. And part of the problem with that is like when you think about a buyer, when a buyer describes to you what they want, and this is actually where it all came from. I'm a buyer. I think like a buyer. I want to buy
hmm.
more deals. And there's like many millions of Kens out there.
Hmm.
Colin, maybe you'll buy a deal one day. You never know, right? Like, it's
Hmm.
nice to get into investment real estate. So, it started with, you know, off-market buy box is where it started, and I was basically trying to find deals that fit my needs, and that's
Hmm.
hard. Like you think about like a marketplace, you need buyers and sellers, and getting the sellers to put their deals in so like I can see if it fits my interest. That was challenging. The name sucked. No, like shame there. So we went to OFFmarket.com, OFFmarket.com. Again, not great because we had a competitor named OFFmarket.com. We lost about 60% of our traffic to these people, and one of my teammates like called them and found them. My gosh, bless this man. He's like in his mid 70s. He lives in the Bahamas, and he's like, "Oh, I would sell my website." Actually, he said he would lease it to us for $1.2 million a year. And his business model is he charges $25 for someone to post deals on there, and he makes no guarantees. But I mean, he owns offmarket.com. So like
Hmm.
he definitely knew what he was doing. From the technical side, we literally just have a Maps API
Hmm.
grafted over coordinates, and then buyers could directly connect with sellers. That was the
Hmm.
game. A little bit of the innovation we did deliver was that sellers are really a lot of their time is wasted. So you're a wholesaler, you only have 2 weeks to get this thing done.
Yep.
People will call you and talk to you forever about a deal and not make any moves.
Hmm.
So the more verification we could do up front, the better. So we did verify. We use Twilio to verify phone number and verify email. Those were like early stage innovations. That was quite a long time ago. We've been around for 4 months now. That was our first 30 days. And we just released our mobile app like 2 weeks ago. So we're not that far along, but like that's our situation now.
That's cool. And you already beat me to your shut up moment, but I'm curious too. Was there a moment that anyone told you like this is gonna flat out not work for you?
Yes. Yes, and I will say that, like, Colin, if I had not changed and grown, it likely would have. So, give you a few examples. So when we first started, we're just putting a timer because I have a meeting after this. Sorry.
Hmm.
We were pay to post. So it was $99 per posting. There were a lot of reasons why that didn't work. Number one, it disincentivizes inventory. So like imagine if Airbnb like made you pay to put your property on Airbnb. Very
Hmm.
likely that people aren't going to want to do it. Same thing with Uber. Like the platform cannot charge you to bring them inventory. That does not work.
Totally.
eBay is one of the only examples that does. They still charge a posting fee and
Hmm.
they charge for like a percentage. Interesting. But they also
Hmm.
have a lot of spam problems. So that was one of the first pieces where people are like, I hate this idea. This is dumb. And I'm like, cool, that sucks for me. A lot of it was around pricing, Colin. Like no one questioned that this industry is like, doesn't need to be fixed. Sellers, I get on the phone with them every day. Wholesalers are like, I need more buyers. Because the only limitation of their income is more buyers coming through the door. And
Makes
buyers are the
sense.
same. They hate not having access to more deals. Because I think you'd be amazed, Colin. We had a meeting with a woman named Ruth the other day. She's out of Florida, freshly divorced from New Hampshire, blah, blah, blah. She had $600,000 in the divorce. And she's like, all I want to do is buy investment properties and like never have to work again. And I'm like,
Hmm.
cool. She's like, your app has been a lifesaver because I don't have access. I don't know how to meet these people. I'm not going to these events. And like, I love it. And I'm like, thank you, Ruth. We say that on video. So yeah, like
Good.
there's been lots of opportunities for failure, but like we're learning.
Yeah, cool. And then, so you're currently at seed stage, and you're still having some investors and stuff like that. Can you kind of share about your experience of bringing in investors in order to start up a tech company, and then also where you're seeing yourself when you bring in VC at Series A?
Yeah, so we have already raised a few angel checks, and we're like literally later today. I might check my email. I'm not gonna do it on the call because I might like explode with excitement. But we're expecting to hear from some accelerators and incubators.
Hmm.
So we're at the stage where I still own a majority of the company. We recently brought on a chief technology officer. So everything from now you see, Colin, even the mobile app was entirely done by contract engineers. Would not suggest
Wow.
it, but like I have designed every pixel through a designer, but like I've done
Hmm.
all of this, I've architected all of it. It does not mean it's great. Like I wouldn't suggest that team. Like get yourself a CTO, like work with people who can
Hmm.
develop software. When it comes to capital raising, there's a lot of things that had to be proven. And especially since I haven't said the word AI like 15 times in a row, a lot of people are like, wasn't platforms like a 2000s thing? And I'm like, platforms are the best, most defensible industry in existence. Look at FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Every single one of them is not an AI company. AI
Right.
is a tool inside their company. What are they? Platforms, buyers and sellers of information. That's the game. So reminding investors that like things outside of AI actually matter is hard, but it's a process, you know. Like what I would say, Colin, is like we as startup founders often grade each other and value each other based on how much money you've raised. Maybe that's not the best way to do it because we're waiting to raise capital because we're making so much money. So for us, the longer we can wait, the higher valuation we can get, the more investors take us seriously. So like
Yes.
it's a hard game. Venture capital is a hard game of like when to raise, how much to raise. It is challenging. I gotta say, like I don't have a secret sauce, and but you know, long term, Colin, like when I build this and exit, I will be a venture capitalist. I will absolutely invest in companies. I love this game.
Totally. I'm on that path with you. And then let's go over to Offa. So kind of the last thing as we count down the 8 minutes. So Offa is live. What's the reaction been since hitting the app stores?
So Offa is specifically built for our buyers. So remember, we're like a buy-sell situation. It's kind of like
Hmm.
Airbnb, right? Like the Airbnb app is very much geared towards buyers or like people who book the properties.
Hmm.
Reaction so far is really good. I will tell you the first week, as you experienced personally, our
Hmm.
authentication system, you know, did not do great. And that's not great, right? So that was a challenge, big problem, but it's getting much better now. Hiring a CTO is super important and finding like someone who can like meet me where I am and like understand my vibe of building and the speed we work at. The most important thing for us actually is the sellers. So sellers emphatically, like aggressively need this situation. I was on the phone with the seller yesterday. He gets under contract 30 to 40 properties per month. He only sells about 20 to 25 of them. And he is having a problem, Colin, which is like he works with these large banks in New York and they buy almost all of his deals. Here's the problem. They buy the exact same price for the last 5 years, regardless of inflation, regardless of growth, because they know what he's willing to sell at. He'll make
Hmm.
a little bit of money here and there, but like he knows that if he were to sell to more local investors who
Hmm.
are like, you know, willing to like put their heart and soul into these properties, they're willing to pay $3,000, $5,000 more. And that's a
Mm,
huge margin for someone like him. It's a big difference. And
totally.
so he's so desperate for something like us. That's kind of the beauty of Offa. We don't charge anyone up front to post. We only charge them a percentage on the back end when they close. So there's
Mm,
no risk. So like if we find you the buyer, you pay us. So what's the risk in split testing us your current buyers versus us? And the answer is if we bring you higher quality buyers who are willing to pay more, amazing. And then the solution for a buyer on our mobile app is this is access to deals I never even had before that are physically close to me, ready to buy right now. Like it's a great solution for both sides.
That's cool. And you took one of my questions about how you actually make money. How do you control actually making money if they sell through the platform, and how do you control that environment so you actually get paid?
Yeah, when you submit a deal to Offa as a wholesaler or as a seller, you e-sign a document with us. It's a limited joint venture agreement. As you sign that document, you give us the contract. So remember Ruth and Jake, right? I forgot their names. Ruth and Jake, I think it was. So like
Yep.
that wholesaler brings us that contract. They have the contract to sell. That makes it clear that like they actually have equitable right to sell that contract. And then you e-sign a document with us, a temporary joint venture. And so that's sent over to your title company. Colin, I don't know how much you know about real estate. Title companies are kind of like the very end where like they shake hands and do the end. Okay, cool. Maybe your viewers don't know, but
Yep.
that email and that e-signed document going to title means that they cannot close on that property without paying us. And so it makes it really safe and easy. They don't got to worry about it. You know, like the seller gets their money. They don't got to worry about paying us. Title company wires us the cash. So it's been really great so far.
That's cool. That's awesome. And who's your target audience for using the platform as well?
As a buyer, so our target audience for buyers are basically, this is part of our problem, really broad. I mean, Colin, it could be you. It could
Hmm.
be your mom. It could be anyone who wants to go buy investment real estate and is open to learning about off-market real estate specifically. Like investment real estate is very unique, you know, but that's
Hmm.
it's could be anyone. Usually they're employed. Usually they're interested in buying real estate. Usually looking to buy in their own community. But it's a broad range of real estate investors.
Yeah, it's going to be fun watching your company grow and how you market. It's going to be very exhilarating. What's
Lots
the
of
biggest?
content.
Yes. What's the biggest struggle with Office so far?
Biggest struggle for us so far, honestly, it's been our technology stack. It's just been
Hmm.
the fact that like I'm non-technical. I push my team so hard. We're constantly delivering new things. We want to build new things. Like for example, we have almost 12,000 buyers today. We're moving them over to the mobile app, but 12,000 buyers hit our site every month. That's cool. We know we can advertise to those folks. There's a lot of companies and businesses that want to get in front of buyers. This actually harkens back to the conversation around VC. I'd
Hmm.
rather make more money and make more revenue than beg VCs for capital. And so I want to deliver an ads platform, but we have 10 other things that we're fighting to build. And so that's part of the challenge is just like the balancing those needs of like, what's the business need? What does the team need? What do the customers need? And all those things together. Like that is that, you know, it's like I think the best metaphor is like being a what's the guy that like does conductor, right? Conductor of the orchestra,
Yes.
right? Like it's like, okay, a little bit over here, less of you engineering,
Yep.
more
Yep.
from you marketing. Like it's that the whole game.
Totally. How cool. So last big question before we get into your rapid fire, then we're done. As you look ahead, what milestones are you focused on, and what would a Series A round allow you to accomplish with?
Yeah. Biggest milestone before the end of the year is probably getting ourselves to an average of 2,000 to 3,000 deals online per month. Our only competitor in the space, who I will not name drop, it has about 10,000 properties online at any time. If we can beat them, inventory is the most important thing. It's just like
Hmm.
Airbnb, right? If you go to a city and they only have two Airbnbs to choose from, not useful. We got to have
Totally.
inventory. Buyers are actually easier. The harder side of the market is the sellers. So that is the biggest piece. What would a Series A or what would another investment round unlock? Attention. We need a content team. I want to go full Duolingo. I want to be entertaining, maybe even make like a creature or something along those lines, like maybe off of the octopus. I don't know. What we have to do is we have to get mind share and mental equity in your brain of like, okay, Zillow equals MLS realtors, Offa equals off-market real estate. And that is the goal for 2026.
Awesome. And then rapid fire. We have 2 more minutes.
You're good. I can go a few more minutes extra. Go ahead, Colin.
Favorite city for real estate investing right now?
Favorite city. I made a lot of money in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Biggest red flag on a deal?
Biggest red flag is a non-transparent seller or the moment a seller lies to me about the deal.
Yeah, but pretty good indicator. App you can't live without other than Offa, of course.
Live without. Can I tell you it's funny? I'll give them a shout out. Push, Puush, is a push-up app. I travel so much, it's really hard to keep your fitness going. And like push-ups are
Mm,
really, I'm 6'5". It's good to keep your body going. That's helped me get to 100 push-ups a day. I use it every day religiously, and I do it with my friends.
that's cool. You get to compete with each other?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's great.
Cool.
I really suggest it. Push.
First thing that you'll do once your seed round closes.
Go to a really nice steak dinner. Like, of
Yes.
course, what else would you do, right? Like, and preferably take my team, but like, yeah, go get a really nice steak dinner. Of course, rare, Nothing other than rare. Anyone at the table orders anything like well done, they're fired immediately.
And then last question, favorite sport?
My favorite sport's volleyball. Still is, still will be, you know? I love volleyball. I love things that I am unfairly advantaged at. I'm 6'5". I don't want to play fair. So like, sounds great.
Totally. And then just your very, very last question. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self and to the listeners that are listening of starting a business, jumping into something that they are afraid to try? What is that piece of advice that you would?
So what I say to anyone, specifically the entrepreneurs, like shout out to entrepreneurs out there who want to build something. Here is the piece of the thing that you don't want to focus on that is actually the most important thing you'll ever need to handle, which is customer service. Whenever you go to offa.com on our website, you'll see a real-time chat bubble. I don't care which company you use, which technology you use, but 7 days a week, that goes to my phone and my entire team. Our average response time is under 2 minutes, 7 days a week, 24/7. What people forget, and I experienced this today, I was trying to buy some swag on Vistaprints. What people forget is that your customers are literally on the other end of the internet and they want to talk to you. My encouragement is do not feed them AI. You've never seen me more pissed off than I go to chat real time with some support. It says, we're online, and it starts spewing AI nonsense at me. It's deceptive and rude. Like, I'm a real person. I have real money, and I want to pay you. I want to use your services. Do not disrespect me by not offering me customer service. And anyone who has like a contact us submission form, bro, it is not 1995. Come on, like be there, talk to your customers. How else are you going to grow and learn? You think your ideas are good? Okay, put a real time chat bot.
Great piece of advice. So then now, Ken, if anyone wants, all the listeners that they're listening and they want to connect with you, where should they connect with you? And then where can they find Offa?
So I'll give my phone number out. It's kind of crazy I do this, but like I'll probably change it one day. My phone number is 407-978-7064. Text me anytime. I did this on the Deal Machine podcast as well. Easier is Ken at offa.com, Ken at offa.com. I will not manage the real-time chat forever, but I am usually the other person on the other end of that real-time chat. And yeah, like, you know, I'm on a lot of socials. I'm going to be doing a lot of content coming up. So, Colin, thank you very much. And thank you to your podcast for having me on. And that's...
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you for this rapid fire special episode of Startup and Shut Up. Thank you.
Cool. All right. I'll see you later. Bye, Colin. Thank you.
Bye.
Perfect. Everyone go check out Offa. It's live in the app stores right now. Ken, thank you for joining me today and sharing your story. From volleyball courts in Chicago to launching a seed stage startup, you're proof that spotting a pain point and acting fast can change everything. And to our listeners, if you're tired of losing out on deals, Offa might be your next best tool. And if you're building something yourself, remember, startup or shut up.